Grandma's 39 plus, old life hacks. You'll wish you knew sooner. Welcome to today's video, Grandma's 39 plus, old life hacks you'll wish you knew sooner. These timeless tricks have stood the test of time because they just work. Whether it's fixing something on the fly, keeping things fresher longer, or making home life a little easier, Grandma always had a way. And now we're passing these down to you. No fluff, no filler, just pure, old-fashioned know-how. Let's jump right in. 1. Seal envelopes without licking them back. When mail was more personal, Grandma had a trick to seal envelopes without putting her tongue on glue. She kept a damp sponge in a little plastic dish, dipped the flap gently across the sponge, and pressed it shut. No germs, no bad taste, and it looked perfectly neat. She always reminded us that if you're sending a lot of cards, like Christmas or thank yous, it saves your mouth and your patience. And if you didn't have a sponge handy, she'd run her finger under the tap and swipe it across. Simple, sanitary, and just the right amount of old-school smart. 2. Use vinegar to soften towels naturally. When towels lost their fluff, Grandma never tossed them. Instead, she added a cup of white vinegar to the rinse cycle. It broke down soap residue and minerals that made fabric stiff. No need for fancy softeners or chemicals. After one wash, the towels felt like new again, soft, absorbent, and fresh smelling. She'd line dry them in the sun when she could, and if it was cloudy, she'd fluff them on low heat in the dryer. It was all about getting more life out of what you had, and Grandma sure made every towel count. 3. Freshen shoes with tea bags. Smelly shoes? Not a problem. Grandma slipped a couple of dry black tea bags into each shoe overnight. The tannins in the tea absorbed moisture and neutralized odors. It worked on sneakers, boots, slippers, you name it. And in the morning, the shoes smelled clean again. No harsh sprays needed. She said it worked better than baking soda because you could reuse the tea bags later for shoes again, or even compost them. A no-cost, no-waste solution from the kitchen drawer. That's classic Grandma thinking. 4. Fix a loose button with nail polish. When a button started to wiggle, Grandma didn't wait for it to fall off. She took clear nail polish and dabbed it on the threads. It sealed them tight and prevented fraying, buying weeks or even months before a proper resew was needed. If a thread snapped mid-wear, she carried a tiny sewing kit in her purse, but often a single polish dot saved the day. She said it worked great on shirt buttons, coat closures, even the occasional backpack. It was her little bottle of wardrobe insurance. 5. Quiet a squeaky door with petroleum jelly. That familiar door squeak? Grandma had no patience for it. She'd grab her trusty jar of petroleum jelly, a cotton swab, and get to work. Dabbed it right on the hinges. No need to remove the door or mess with tools. She'd open and close it a few times, and just like that, silence. It wasn't messy, didn't drip like oil, and the fix lasted for weeks. She even used the same method on squeaky drawers and window latches. For Grandma, silence really was golden, and she always found a way. 6. Clean cloudy glass with vinegar and newspaper. Grandma didn't throw away glasses just because they turned cloudy. She filled them with warm vinegar and let them sit for 10 minutes to loosen up any film. Then, using crumpled newspaper, she scrubbed the insides until they sparkled again. The ink and paper texture gave a light abrasive edge without scratching the glass. After rinsing with cool water, they looked practically new. No fancy cleaner, no dishwashing upgrade needed. She always believed in giving old things a second chance before replacing them. That thriftiness came with wisdom, and she always had vinegar and newspaper at the ready. 7. Repurpose old socks as dusting mitts. Instead of tossing worn-out socks, Grandma turned them into dusting mitts. She'd slip them over her hands and run them along shelves, blinds, and furniture. They picked up dust better than most rags, and she could flip them inside out to keep going. For tight corners or ornate furniture, she'd wet them lightly to trap particles better. After use, they went straight into the wash with the rest of the laundry. No waste, no extra tools needed. She kept a whole stash just for cleaning days. We thought it was clever. She thought it was just common sense. 8. Store lettuce with paper towels. Lettuce never wilted in Grandma's fridge. She lined her vegetable drawer with dry paper towels and wrapped each head loosely before storing. The towels absorbed moisture, which kept leaves crisp for over a week. She even tucked a towel inside salad containers for the same reason. If greens started to wilt, she'd soak them in ice water for 10 minutes and they perked right up. It was like vegetable CPR. She hated wasting food, so this trick came in handy every week. 9. Quiet squeaky floors with baby powder. When old floorboards groaned and creaked, Grandma didn't panic. She reached for baby powder. She sprinkled it along the cracks and gently swept it into the seams with a broom. The powder filled the space and reduced friction, quieting the noise. In older homes, this was a lifesaver. She'd reapply every few months if needed. It smelled nice too, leaving the house with a fresh scent. She said not every fix needed nails or tools. Sometimes all it took was a soft touch and a clever mind. This was one of her best low-effort fixes. 10. Revive old wood furniture with oil and vinegar. 11. Use ice cubes to remove carpet dents. When furniture left dents in the carpet, Grandma used ice cubes to fix them. She'd place a cube directly in the divot and let it melt slowly. Once it soaked in, she fluffed the fibers with a spoon or comb. The water helped the carpet bounce back overnight. For bigger spots, she used multiple cubes. It worked on rugs and wall-to-wall carpeting alike. No need for steamers or professional cleaners. She loved how something so simple could undo heavy furniture's footprint. Another gentle fix that worked wonders. 12. Unstick zippers with soap or candle wax. Stuck zipper. Grandma didn't yank or throw things out. She rubbed a bar of soap or a candle along the zipper teeth. It lubricated the mechanism just enough to get it sliding again. She'd gently tug it back and forth a few times until it loosened completely. It worked on jackets, purses, even sleeping bags. No damage, no fuss. She kept a sliver of soap in her sewing tin just for zipper emergencies. This hack saved us from countless jams without ever breaking a thing. 13. Clean a burnt pan with baking soda and boiling water. When something scorched the bottom of a pan, Grandma didn't scrub and strain her arms. She added water and a tablespoon of baking soda to the pan and brought it to a boil. After simmering for 10 minutes, the burned bits loosened up. She let it cool, then wiped it clean with minimal effort. It worked on stainless steel, cast iron, and aluminum. She rarely needed to toss a pan. Her kitchen was a science lab, and she was the chemist. 14. Refresh a mattress with baking soda and essential oils. Grandma kept mattresses fresh without buying sprays. She mixed a cup of baking soda with a few drops of lavender or eucalyptus oil, then sprinkled it over the surface. After sitting for an hour, she vacuumed it up, leaving behind a clean scent. It absorbed moisture, neutralized odors, and gave the bed a lift. She'd do this every month or so, especially in summer. Her whole bedroom smelled like a garden afterward. A little powder and patience went a long way. 15. Deodorize the fridge with coffee grounds. Forget boxes of baking soda. Grandma used old coffee grounds in a bowl. She placed them on a back shelf, and within a day or two, odors vanished. The grounds absorbed moisture and smells at the same time. She changed them every couple weeks and composted the old ones in her garden. Simple, efficient, and waste-free. She even said it gave the fridge a clean pantry smell. That's thinking ahead and backward at the same time. 16. Keep drawer tracks. Sliding smoothly with wax paper sticky drawers didn't faze Grandma. She'd tear off a piece of wax paper and run it along the wooden tracks and edges. The wax created a light, invisible coating that reduced friction instantly. No grease, no mess, just smooth, quiet movement. It worked like magic on old dressers and antique cabinets. If the problem was metal rails, she'd use a candle stub instead. Drawer jams disappeared, and everything glided open like new. She always said, "You don't need new furniture, just a little old-school grease." We never argued with that logic. 17. Brighten tarnished silver with aluminum and baking soda. Polishing silver was once a chore, but not for Grandma. She lined a bowl with aluminum foil, added hot water, and mixed in baking soda and salt. After dropping in her tarnished silverware, the dark coating vanished in minutes. It was like watching chemistry class. No elbow grease required, just rinse and dry. The foil and baking soda triggered a reaction that reversed the tarnish. She used this trick before every holiday dinner, and the silver always gleamed on her table like it had just been bought. 18. Keep brown sugar. Soft with bread or marshmallows. Grandma never chipped away at rock-hard brown sugar. She placed a slice of bread or a couple of marshmallows into the sugar jar. Within a day, the sugar softened completely. The moisture from the bread rehydrated the sugar, keeping it scoopable. When the bread dried out, she just replaced it. Sometimes she used apple slices too, for a hint of fragrance. Her cookies never suffered from dry sugar. It was a humble kitchen trick with big results. You could count on her pantry to always be ready for baking. 19. Use salt and lemon to clean cutting boards. Grandma didn't trust harsh chemicals on surfaces that touched her food. To clean her wooden cutting boards, she'd sprinkle coarse salt on the surface and rub it with half a lemon. The salt scrubbed away grime, and the lemon disinfected with natural acid. After rinsing, the board smelled fresh and looked nearly new. She'd oil it lightly afterward to keep the wood from drying. This habit kept her boards spotless for decades, clean enough to prep veggies and natural enough to feel safe. 20. Remove stickers with vinegar and patience. Sticky price tags never got the best of Grandma. She dabbed white vinegar onto the label and let it soak for a few minutes. Then she gently scraped it off with her fingernail or a butter knife. The vinegar dissolved the adhesive without damaging the surface. It worked on jars, plastic, and books alike. No more residue, and no need for fancy cleaners. She saved every jar she could reuse, and no label ever stood in her way. 21. Stop foggy mirrors with shaving cream. Before guests arrived, Grandma wiped shaving cream across the bathroom mirror. After buffing it off with a clean rag, the glass stayed fog-free after every shower. It was an old barbershop trick, and it worked wonders. No more wiping or smearing post-shower. She said it made morning routines quicker and kept mirrors looking spotless longer. She did it monthly, just as a habit. It felt like magic, but it was just know-how passed down the line. 22. Quiet, noisy hinges with petroleum jelly. When a door squeaked or a hinge groaned, Grandma didn't rush for oil. She used a dab of petroleum jelly. A tiny amount rubbed onto the hinge pins silenced the noise immediately. It didn't drip like oil or smell strong. She said it lasted longer too. Cabinet doors, gates, even creaky jewelry boxes got the treatment. It was one of those quiet fixes that no one noticed because it worked so well. 23. Refresh stale bread with a damp paper towel. When bread went stale, Grandma didn't toss it. She wrapped it in a damp paper towel and microwaved it for 10-15 seconds. The steam revived the moisture, and the loaf felt fresh again. She'd only do this once per piece. No one likes soggy bread. It was perfect for sandwiches or quick toast. It worked on muffins, rolls, and tortillas too. Waste not, want not. That was her rule. 24. Sharpen scissors with aluminum foil. Grandma never threw away dull scissors. She folded aluminum foil into thick layers and cut through it repeatedly. After about 10-15 snips, the blades were noticeably sharper. It didn't fix everything, but it bought her time. She kept a stash of foil just for this trick in her sewing box. It worked especially well on crafting scissors, which dulled fast. Smart, simple, and totally free. 25. Prevent musty drawers with dryer sheets or chalk. Old drawers smelled musty, but not under Grandma's watch. She placed unused dryer sheets inside or stuck a few pieces of chalk in the corners. The sheets released fragrance while chalk absorbed moisture. Together, they kept everything smelling fresh. She refreshed them every season and added a sachet of herbs for extra scent. Her dressers always smelled like lavender or cedar. No must, no mold, just freshness tucked away. 26. Keep rice dry with a few grains in the salt shaker. Grandma knew salt could clump in humid weather. To fix it, she'd drop a few grains of uncooked rice into the salt shaker. The rice absorbed moisture, keeping the salt loose and pourable. No shaking and smacking required. This worked for any powdered spice that clumped: garlic powder, cinnamon, even baby powder. She always used short grain rice so it didn't block the holes. Her spice rack stayed free-flowing year-round, and guests always asked why her shakers worked so well. Simple, invisible, genius. 27. Use vinegar to brighten whites without bleach. Bleach wasn't Grandma's favorite. Too harsh, too smelly. Instead, she poured a cup of distilled white vinegar into the rinse cycle when washing whites. It removed detergent residue and brightened fabric naturally. Towels came out fluffier. Shirts lost their dingy gray hue. No chemical burns, no stiffness, just soft, clean clothes. If stains needed extra help, she'd soak the item in vinegar and baking soda first. It worked better than bleach for baby clothes and delicates. And the washing machine stayed fresher too. 28. Stop itchy bug bites with baking soda. Paste. Bug bites didn't stand a chance. Grandma mixed a spoon of baking soda with a bit of water until it formed a paste. She dabbed it onto the bite and let it dry. It soothed the itch and reduced swelling fast. No scratching, no scarring. Sometimes she added a drop of vinegar for extra relief. It worked on mosquito bites, ant stings, even mild sunburn. It was her go-to summer remedy, and we never needed a pharmacy trip. 29. Use a rubber band to strip screws or open lid stripped screw. Stuck jar lid? Grandma grabbed a wide rubber band. She laid the band over the screw head to give the driver extra grip, or wrapped it around the jar lid for better torque. It made opening stuck jars a breeze. Even arthritis didn't stop her. She stored thick rubber bands from produce bundles just for this purpose. It saved her knuckles and tools. Cheap, fast, and foolproof. 30. Clean cloudy glass with toothpaste. Cloudy drinking glasses got a fresh shine with a dab of toothpaste. Grandma smeared non-gel toothpaste on a cloth and scrubbed the glass. A rinse and dry later, it looked crystal clear. The mild abrasive in the paste removed hard water stains and soap scum. It also worked on glass ornaments, windows, and even headlights. She said toothpaste was a secret cleaning weapon, and she was right. 31. Keep buttons from falling off with clear nail polish. Loose button. Grandma dabbed clear nail polish over the thread knot. It sealed the stitches and stopped fraying. She said it bought her months of wear without sewing. If the buttonhole stretched, she did the same. It dried invisible and flexible. Her coat buttons always stayed snug, even after years. That little bottle lived next to her sewing kit. It saved her time and her wardrobe. 32. Quiet squeaky floors with baby powder. Grandma's old wooden floors creaked, but not for long. She sprinkled baby powder into the seams, then swept it in with a brush. The powder filled the gaps and cushioned the wood. No more groaning boards. It lasted for weeks and smelled great, too. When it wore off, she just repeated it. No tools, no nails, just hush in a bottle. 33. Make natural air freshener with orange peels and cinnamon. Forget spray cans. Grandma simmered orange peels and cinnamon sticks in a pot of water. In minutes, the house smelled like a cozy kitchen. She sometimes added cloves or apple slices. It was chemical-free and customizable. During the holidays, it was her signature scent. Guests walked in, smiling. It beat any store-bought air freshener, and she always had the ingredients on hand. 34. Use soap slivers in a mesh bag for easy reuse. When soap got too small to hold, Grandma didn't toss it. She collected slivers in a mesh bag, sometimes an old onion bag, and tied it shut. In the bath or sink, it lathered up like a bar. No waste, no mushy soap dishes. The mesh helped exfoliate, too. When the bag got full, she made a new one. Smart, thrifty, and effective. 35. Preserve leftover paint with plastic wrap and an upside-down can. To keep paint fresh, Grandma placed plastic wrap on the surface before sealing the lid. Then she stored the can upside down. This created an airtight seal. Months later, the paint was still good. She labeled each lid with a swatch and the room name. No rusty cans or dry clumps. It saved time and money on every touch-up job. 36. Use an empty tissue box as a plastic bag dispenser. Grandma had a drawer full of plastic bags, but no mess. She folded them neatly and stuffed them into an empty tissue box. Pulling one out brought up the next, like tissues. It fit in a drawer or under the sink. She even decorated the box with old wrapping paper. Her kitchen stayed tidy, and she always had bags handy. 37. Reuse candle ends for drawer fresheners. Candle stubs never went to waste. Grandma chopped up the leftover wax and wrapped it in breathable fabric, old stockings or cheesecloth. She tied them off and tucked them into drawers and closets. The scent lingered for months. She especially liked lavender and vanilla. It kept clothes smelling clean and cozy. No synthetic air fresheners needed. 38. Dry wet boots with crumpled newspaper, soaked shoes after a rainy walk. Grandma crumpled up newspaper and stuffed it inside. It absorbed moisture overnight and helped the shoes hold their shape. She replaced the paper every few hours for heavy soakings. Shoes dried faster and smelled fresher. She'd lay them near a vent but never directly on a heater. It worked on boots, sneakers, even slippers. 39. Use an old fork as a nail holder. Hammering a nail without hitting your fingers was easy with Grandma's trick. She'd hold the nail between the tines of an old fork, positioning it on the wall while keeping her fingers safe. Once the nail was in part way, she removed the fork and finished the job. It was safer and more precise. She kept a bent fork just for this purpose. DIY the grandma way, clever and careful,